Kentucky will face North Carolina in the 2025 SEC-ACC Challenge. Will it be scary for North Carolina? With the team that Pope has assembled, you can be sure. Let's get to the news. The rivalry between Kentucky and North Carolina, one of the most traditional in college basketball, is back. And the 2025 SEC-ACC Challenge promises to be a remarkable chapter in this story, full of emotions, iconic talents, and unforgettable games. The news released by John Rothstein excited fans on both sides. The Kentucky Wildcats will host the North Carolina Tar Heels at the legendary Rupp Arena for the first time since the 2014-15 season. More than just a game, this matchup will bring with it all the emotional and historical charge that only great duels can provide. Under Mark Pope's leadership, Kentucky basketball enters a new phase. The coach, who has already demonstrated an innovative and resilient approach, will face one of the biggest challenges of his career with the program. Hosting the Tar Heels is not only an opportunity to test their strengths against one of the ACC giants, but also to further solidify the legacy of a team that has always been among the sport's protagonists. With a renewed team full of potential this season, the Wildcats have everything they need to do well and show that they are ready to face any tough opponent. The last meeting between the two teams took place at the 2023 CBS Sports Classic, when Kentucky emerged victorious in a tight duel against a North Carolina team that, despite its difficulties that season, showed determination to earn its place in the NCAA tournament. Now, 2 years later, the scenario will be different. Both teams will be looking to consolidate their positions as national title contenders, and the matchup at Rupp Arena promises to be a true spectacle. It is worth remembering that, historically, the record between Kentucky and North Carolina is even. With John Calipari, the Wildcats have gone 8-4 against the Tar Heels, but in the overall series, Kentucky still trails with 18 wins and 25 losses. However, numbers are just numbers, and what really matters is how these teams perform on the field. Now, with Mark Pope at the helm, there is a palpable sense of renewal and expectation. He has worked hard to shape a competitive, focused roster capable of facing challenges like this. In addition, the 2025 SEC-ACC Challenge promises to be a special event not only because of the duel between Kentucky and North Carolina, but also because of the other notable matchups in the round. Florida versus Duke, NC State versus Auburn, and Louisville versus Arkansas are examples of matches that promise to shake up the college basketball calendar. For Kentucky fans, however, the clash against the Tar Heels will be the highlight. After all, it's not every day that you get to relive such a rich and meaningful rivalry. The atmosphere at Rupp Arena is sure to be electrifying. One of the most iconic arenas in the country, known for its ability to intimidate visitors and push the Wildcats to victory, will be packed to the rafters to welcome one of college basketball's most storied franchises. Kentucky's fans, renowned for their unwavering passion, will do everything they can to make this a game to remember. North Carolina, on the other hand, will come in as a formidable opponent. While the 2023 season has been uneven for the Tar Heels, they remain a force to be reckoned with a young and talented core that could surprise. The matchup against Kentucky will serve as a litmus test for both teams, offering a taste of what we can expect from them throughout the campaign. And with Mark Pope leading the Wildcats, there's a sense of great things to come. The 2025 SEC-ACC Challenge will be just the beginning of a promising journey for Kentucky, which appears determined to reclaim its place at the top. It remains to be seen how the Tar Heels will respond to the challenge, but one thing is for sure: fans are eager to see what promises to be one of the most exciting games of the season. Don't you think? The Lexington team has secured a major commitment. Jordan Crutchfield, a talented three-star player, announced his decision to join the Wildcats, news that injects excitement into the fans and reinforces the program's competitiveness in the 2026 class. The confirmation, shared enthusiastically on Instagram by Riley Alberts, marks not only a recruiting victory, but also a moment of affirmation for Kentucky, especially as it surpasses rival Louisville Cardinals, who were on the verge of receiving an official visit from the young athlete. He is a versatile prospect who brings a rare combination of size, skill, and potential. Coming from Vero Beach High School in Florida, after stints at Fort Pierce Westwood, the player stood out as a safety, but also demonstrated competence as a cornerback and even wide receiver, evidencing his ability to impact the game in multiple positions. According to the 247 Sports Composite rankings, he is the 40th best safety and the 463rd best overall recruit in the 2026 class, numbers that put him just a few steps away from reaching four-star status when final evaluations are released. That projection reinforces the idea that Kentucky is attracting talent with elite potential who can elevate the team in the coming years. Crutchfield's commitment is even sweeter when you consider the competitive context. The decision came on the eve of a planned visit to Louisville, led by Vince Marrow, which makes the acquisition a strategic coup for Stoops and his coaching staff. It's not just a matter of adding a promising player, but of affirming Kentucky's growing influence in the recruiting market, especially in a state like Florida that is known for being a hotbed of talent. The list of schools that have offered Crutchfield scholarships, including powerhouses like Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Penn State, Miami, South Carolina, Florida State, and Texas A&M, only underscores the quality of the athlete and the weight of the Wildcats' choice. Kentucky is clearly competing at the highest level to attract coveted players. With Stoops, who has already cemented his reputation as one of the most consistent coaches in the SEC, the Kentucky football program continues to build a solid foundation for the future. Crutchfield joins a 2026 class that already includes the likes of Jarvis Strickland, Prince Jean, and Davis McCray, forming a starting group of 4 players who promise to bring dynamism and depth to the roster. Crutchfield's arrival is not just a numerical addition, but a sign that Stoops' project is gaining traction, attracting players who see Lexington as not just an opportunity to play in the SEC, but to be part of something different. The player's ability to play multiple positions on defense and even offense opens up interesting tactical possibilities for the Wildcats as they look to continue their rise in the most competitive conference in the country. Plus, the win over Louisville in the draft adds an extra spice, reigniting the in-state rivalry and giving fans an extra reason to celebrate. Let's go ahead. Vince Marrow's departure from the Kentucky Wildcats has left a palpable void in one of the pillars of the program's recent success. His departure, coupled with the modest projections for next season, with bookmakers setting a line of just 4.5 wins, raises inevitable questions about the immediate future of football in Lexington. The SEC Conference, known for its brutal competitiveness and as one of the most challenging leagues in college sports, offers no room for error or lengthy transitions. Given this scenario, the question echoing among fans is clear. Can Mark Stoops turn things around and keep Kentucky from sinking further into the bottom of the SEC standings? There's no denying that Stoops is at a critical juncture in his career as the Wildcats' head coach. For much of his tenure, he has been praised for elevating the program to previously unimaginable heights. From winning the Citrus Bowl in 2018 to consistently leading the team to bowls nearly every year, Stoops has built a reputation for resilience and determination. However, next season could be his biggest test yet. Without Marrow, a key figure in recruiting and roster construction over the past decade, and with the program facing a bleak outlook, the coach will need not only strategy but also a fair amount of luck. The projection of finishing near the bottom of the SEC, while harsh, reflects Kentucky's current reality. The schedule for next season is not doing the Wildcats any favors, with tough matchups against traditionally strong teams in the conference. In addition, the loss of recruiting clout and the need to adapt to a new internal dynamic following Marrow's departure could have a direct impact on the quality of the roster available. Still, it would be foolhardy to completely dismiss Stoops' ability to surprise. He has proven time and time again that he can get the most out of limited resources and turn seemingly inferior teams into dangerous opponents. The big question mark is how well Kentucky will be able to manage this transition. Eddie Gran's reinstatement as pseudo-GM has brought significant changes to the program's structure, but it remains to be seen whether these changes will yield the expected results. The last few transfer classes led by Gran have been inconsistent, which raises questions about his effectiveness in directing recruiting decisions. If Kentucky is to avoid a collapse in the SEC standings, it will need to not only correct these flaws, but also find ways to compensate for Marrow's absence in developing local talent. Another crucial factor will be the performance of the offense. Historically, Kentucky has been a team that has relied heavily on its defense and a solid running game to compete. However, without key players on the roster and lacking depth at some positions, it will be challenging to maintain that identity. The evolution of the offensive sector, especially in the passing game, could be decisive in changing the team's outlook. Here again, the question lies. Will the coaching staff, led by Stoops, be able to adjust the offensive scheme to maximize the potential of the players available? In times of adversity, a team's cohesion and resilience can make all the difference. Stoops has always been a coach who has been able to motivate his players and create a culture of hard work in Lexington. That trait will be put to the test like never before. The Wildcats will need to overcome outside expectations and embrace the role of underdog, something that has served them well in the past. Can Stoops turn the tide and prove once again that he can exceed expectations? Or will this be the season that exposes the weaknesses of a program still under construction? I want to hear your thoughts on football. Comment below.